Hi everyone, and welcome to the first in a new series of videos looking at League of Legends. Now, I'm going to start from the absolute beginning with this series, so if you've never heard of League of Legends, or you've heard of it, but you don't know what all the terms mean, you keep hearing acronyms that you don't understand, then this is the series for you. Alongside this series, I'm actually learning to play League of Legends myself. If you're interested in seeing that series, Noob Learns League of Legends, I've put a little link at the top there for you to click and you can follow that through. So what is League of Legends? Well, it is a MOBA game. MOBA stands for Multiplayer Online Battle Arena. So what that means in practice is you pick a champion, as they're called, you control them, and it's a 5 versus 5 battle. So you're on a team with 4 other people against 5 people on the other team. Now, I'm going to show you the map, how you play, what goes on. As I say, this video will be the very basics and we'll move on to other things in future. But I'm going to use a mixture of actual in-game footage and footage from what's called the practice tool, where you can just kind of demonstrate different bits and pieces. So with that in mind, we're going to jump in, and the first thing we're going to look at is the map itself. So the first thing you'll see when you start a game is this area here, and this is called the Fountain, and it's where you and all your teammates spawn for the game. The Fountain is at the back of your base, and the goal of the whole game is to defend your base and to destroy the other base. So you destroy the other base before yours is destroyed. The base is comprised not only of this fountain area, but also the key structure here really is the Nexus. And the Nexus is the building that you need to destroy in the other team to win, and you need to protect. If you look at the map at the bottom right, you can see here we are in the bottom left of the map. At the bottom right is the other team, and their base is just a mirror image of your base. So it's exactly the same, and each team just has to try and destroy the other team's Nexus. So the base itself is comprised of this Nexus, and it has these 2 defensive towers next to it. And then if you move a little further out, the inner building here is called an inhibitor. There are 3 of those, and each of them is protected by a turret as well. Now, I said you need to kill the Nexus to win, and that's true. You don't need to kill everything else in the base, but the more stuff you kill, the easier it is to get to the Nexus and defeat it. And you can only damage the Nexus once you've defeated the 2 towers that stand in front of it. I'll talk a little more about towers and how dangerous they are for you as a player in a minute, but that's kind of the base covered. And now if we look further onto the map, you can see that it's split up into another variety of areas. So this minimap in the bottom right of the screen here is your friend in all things really in League of Legends. But for now, we'll have a look at it, and it shows us that there are these 3 paths leading out of the base. And in League of Legends terminology, these are called lanes. And they are known as top lane, mid lane, and bot lane, describing where they are on the map. So if you ever hear anyone referencing one of those 3, that's exactly what it means. So obviously top lane goes through the top, bot lane goes through the bottom, and mid lane goes through the middle. And you can see along each lane there are towers. So outside the base in each lane there are 2 towers for each team. And these are defensive structures for both teams. Again, you don't need to kill these in order to win the game, but the game becomes a lot easier if you don't have them in place. And you have to be very careful around turrets. Turrets can do you a lot of damage, but as we will see in just a minute, there is a way to prevent that damage to you. So the other feature of lanes that we should talk about is minions. And those are these little guys who walk from the base all the way along the lanes, and if they're allowed to, they'll get to the other base. But of course, they'll stop when they meet the other minions from the other team. So the minions are pretty weak, but they're useful really for 2 things. And one of them is for improving your hero as you go along, your champion, because you can gain experience and gold from killing them. More on that in the second video, but take my word for it for now. But the other thing that minions do is they take shots from the turret, what's called taking aggro. So if you are trying to knock down any of the turrets, whether they're in the lanes or in the base, what you need is some nice minions to basically take all the damage for you. Now, I mentioned inhibitors, which are the structures within the base. And what they do is if you can destroy your opponent's inhibitor, all the minions which are spawned in your base get that much stronger. So they're basically a way of, as you move ahead in the game, you can get further ahead by destroying more structures. So again, not necessary to win, but destroying inhibitors can be a very useful way of really getting the upper hand over your opponents. So those are the absolute basics of the lanes in League of Legends. So what about all the area in between the lanes? You can see on the map there's a lot of darkness between the lanes, and this is called the jungle. Now, the jungle is dark and full of terrors. There are lots of different monsters hiding out in the jungle. I'll go into some detail on those in a future video. But again, you can kill them for experience, for money, which you can then use to buy items. The other thing that the jungle is very useful for is sneaking up on somebody. So one of the other ways to get ahead in League of Legends is to kill people from the other team. And it's very hard to do that if it's 1 versus 1, but if you can get support from your teammates to do it, creeping through the jungle, it becomes that much easier. So that brings us nicely onto a little bit more detail about the champions. I mentioned that you kind of pilot one champion, and there are 9 others in the game. Each champion has 4 unique abilities. You can see these at the bottom of the screen where I'm indicating, and they vary from champion to champion. There are over 150 champions, so I'm not going to go through all of them right now. But what I do want to say is that you can see here that they are bound to different keys. So there is a Q ability, a W ability, an E ability, and an R ability. You will hear them described sometimes in game by those letters. Because each champion is different, people often would refer to a Q ability or similar. Now the R ability is a little bit different because that's also called the ultimate. So you don't get that until a bit later in the game, but for most champions that's their most powerful move. Alongside those 4 abilities, you also have 2 summoner spells, which you can see here. You pick them before the game starts and they stay all the way through. Again, I will talk a little bit more about them when I look at choosing your champion, and because that's the same time that you choose your summoner spells. But those are bound to D and F on the keyboard, and similarly you just press that button and you do what the summoner spell does. So I mentioned about killing champions. As I've mentioned a couple of times, the goal of League of Legends is not directly to kill your opponent. The goal is to destroy the base. But of course, as with all these things, killing an opponent can be very beneficial. Each time you kill the opponent, they will be out of the game for a set amount of time. What that time is varies. It gets longer as the game goes on. So if you've been playing a game for half an hour, it might well be that it's nearly a minute that someone is out of the game for, which can be quite a serious dent in their play. You also gain experience and you can improve your champion that way. Again, more to come on that later. But similarly, if they manage to get a kill on you, that means you're out of the game for a while. Again, the amount of time varies in the same way it does for your opponents, but you disappear off the map and you respawn back at the fountain, which is where it all started. So the goal is to destroy the base, but often killing your enemies can give you time and space on the map to do the things that you want to do. So that is a very simple explanation of the very fundamentals of League of Legends. If I haven't explained what you're hoping to hear, don't worry. As I say, this is the first in a series of videos. In the next video, I'll be looking a little bit more about how you improve in the game, as in how you level up your champion. There are 2 ways to improve your champion within the game, and I'll be looking at what they are and how you do them. I'll also be looking at how you buy equipment, and some of the other things which are on the map, which I haven't explained in great detail, things in the jungle, things of that nature. So that's all to come in the next video. But in the meantime, I thought I would show you destroying a Nexus. So this is the opposition Nexus being destroyed and a game being won. What better way to finish the first video? So I hope you've enjoyed this video and that you'll stick around and watch the next video to find out when that comes out and all those things. Like, comment, subscribe, you know the drill. Click on the bell so that you hear when more videos come out. And as I say, if you're interested in seeing how my personal League of Legends journey is going, hop over to Noob Learns League of Legends and you can see how I'm getting on over there. Bye now.